future.
And
stand tall.
Thank you.
Through it all.
I get you. And last question, if heaven had a phone, who would you call and what would you say?
Getting emotional, man.
I would ask God if I could call my mom. Man.
And what would you say to her?
She promised me that she would never leave me. My mother was murdered. Thank you for your speech. And I just asked her if she could just hold me one more time.
The clip you just saw was a piece from the first video I ever done, If Heaven Had a Phone Part 1. If you haven't seen the first video, I highly suggest you do. It was my first video and it gives you a better understanding of why I'm doing the videos that I'm doing and why I'm asking the questions that I'm asking now. Lastly, I would just like to thank everybody that got me to my 5 like goal in the previous video. I really didn't expect to get 5 likes, but I got 5 likes in like the first 20 minutes of the video and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But without further ado, here it is, the part 2 of If Heaven Had a Phone, who would you call and what would you say? If heaven had a phone, who would you call and what would you say to them?
I would call my best friend Mikey Moo or Michael Martinez. I would call him and tell him that I love him and that I'm sorry and that I miss him and I wish that he was still here. Yeah, the reason I said the second thing is because he was my best friend and he committed suicide.
Oh.
And so I lost him in a really horrible way, and I would say sorry because that night he called me but I didn't get to answer the phone on time. So it's really hard.
Okay. Call and what would you say?
I asked God, can I call the devil and cuss his ass out? And I would tell the devil, man, you know what, you fucked this world up, man. You and Trump must be related. That's what I say.
Last question, if heaven had a phone, who would you call and what would you say to them? What would you say to her?
For my mom, I love you and I miss you.
Okay.
That's a good question. Heaven had a phone. Oh man, that's tough when you put me in a tough spot. I would call my father and ask him, you know, what is it like on that side? That's pretty much it.
Okay.
If heaven had a phone, get a good mirror. You know, a mirror, soliloquy, you know, maybe a haiku, you know, it'll pay off.
Oh, if heaven had a phone?
If heaven had a phone, I say, you know, maybe I might need a haiku. If you ever had, you know, if you had a phone, it'd be one of my good moments.
Okay.
You know, hello heaven, you know, you got a haiku for me?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, alright.
Probably my mom. Just to see if she's keeping an eye on us.
Oh. Shit, I got a long list.
What would you say to him?
Shit, to be honest, man, I'll just tell him I miss him. You know what I'm saying?
That's for everybody?
Everybody, you know what I'm saying? I mean, me being who I am and the way I was raised, they already knew I loved them. I always said I loved them, and they said it back, you know what I'm saying? I'll just tell them I miss them. You know what I'm saying? That energy. I mean, to be honest, the energy is still here. It's still present, it's still prevalent right now.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? The energy is still here, the flesh is just not here.
If heaven had a phone, I'd probably love to speak to just Jesus or God.
And what would you say?
And I'd like to just thank him like I always do, but to hear his voice would be something amazing.
Yeah.
Just to get a little feedback like how I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
Give me some advice.
Okay.
I'll call my G-Pops.
Tell him what?
I'll tell my G-Pops, he's from Compton. You know, my G-Pops is from Compton. His name is Reverend R.J. Gray. He the one that led the 92 Peace Treaty between the Bloods and Crips. I'll tell him that, you know, he's not forgotten, and he will will surely be revealed. That's what I would tell him.
I would call my great-grandparents who raised me and just ask them, am I doing a good job? Do I make them proud?
Okay.
Yeah.
My Uncle Kevin. And,
What would you say?
Man, you been seeing me shining down here, bro? That's it, like, your boy been grinding, and look at me now, man. I came from the slums, doing wicked, to living good, buying anything I want, basically, man.
I would call my mom and I would just let her know, you know, stay at home, don't go out with your friends, you can stay at home, because then she'll be here still.
Okay. Alright, thank you. If heaven had a phone, who would you call and what would you say to them?
I'll just be like, yo, what's up, it's Tony again.
Okay. Alright, thank you. If heaven had a phone, who would you call and what would you say to them?
I'd say, hello, Mom. I love you. And Dad, I love you both. I love my family, man. I have a great family I came from. They're well providers and trying to help us coming up as little kids, you know. And they were, you know, they did a lot to protest and do different things like that to bring our race up to, you know, equality. And they came from like almost the end of slavery when they were when they were kids and things. So, they treated us and they brought us up well.
Okay. Alright.
I wouldn't call nobody, because I'm in heaven, I'm free. I ain't got no more reason to call nobody. Because as long as I have a life in heaven, I ain't got nowhere else to go, as long as I'm with the Lord and Jesus Christ.
I got you. Alright, thank you.
I would call my big honey, man, and let her know I appreciate her raising me as a baby, and I love you, and I'll see you soon.
If heaven had a phone, so I'm going to take God off the list and Jesus and those things.
I already know they play at fixed price. Fixed price is $2.30.
I would call my grandma.
What would you say?
Just that I love her and I'm doing well, and any concern she had isn't a concern. That I made the right choice, and she would be excited to see where I'm at. And I'm sure she does.
Mommy, I call my...
If heaven had a phone, who would you call and what would you say to them?
If heaven had a phone, and who would you call and what would you say? You tell your son or your daughter, get down how you live.
Alright.
Shit, I think I'll probably call my mom and shit, just tell her thanks for everything. You know, that would pretty much be it.
If heaven had a phone,
Who would you call and what would you say to them?
I'll call my daughter that's in heaven right now, and I'll tell her I'm coming home.
I'm not sure about that one.
Okay. Well, would you have anything to say to Jesus or God?
I would.
What would you say to
Because like the Bible teaches that everything's forgiven, but I don't know how repentance ties into that, and if we're not repentant, do we go to hell?
Okay.
Because if that's the case, then I think it's kind of wrong, because it teaches that everybody's forgiven because of what he did for us. And then,
Okay.
Like, is everybody going there? Are we all gonna have a spot? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I understand. Alright.
I would call my godfather Don, and I would tell him that I miss him and I wish I could speak to him one more time.
Okay. And then last question.
And the last one, I would probably call my if heaven had a number and I could I'd call my great grandmother and ask her for advice. Tell her that it took me a while, but I'm finally getting my shit together and I'm finally becoming a good boy.
Okay. And then last question, if heaven had a phone, who would you call and what would you say?
I would call my cousin, because that's like my ride or die.
What would you say?
I would say, I miss you and I hope you could be here with me soon.
Okay. Alright.
My grandma and my mom.
And what would you say?
Thanks for teaching me about God.
Yeah.
And how to be hopefully a good person. That's about it.
If heaven had a phone, who would I call?
And what would you say?
if actually I'll actually call my grandmother and ask her how is it up there.
Okay. Alright,
Not here. My dad.
What would you tell him?
I would tell him, Dad, I followed your advice. Since you were a child of the 1929 Depression, you were 26 years old when that happened, you told me, do not put all your eggs, meaning your money, do not put all your eggs in one place.
Okay.
Daddy, I did not do that. In my retirement, I recently retired, I have 5 financial legs to stand on.
Okay.
I have 5. So that doesn't count what my wife's got.
Yeah.
So I instilled that on my children. Your advice, Dad, it worked for all of us. Oh, and guess what, Dad? I still have the family home.
That's alright. Alright.
I would call my mother. She deceased when I was 15, and I would tell her that I get it. I appreciate everything she was able to do for us, for me and my sister.
Okay. Again, thank you guys so much for watching the entire video. I had a lot of support on the last video, so let's see if we can just keep it going with the support, the shares and the comments and the likes. I'm hoping to hit 15 likes on this one. Last time I said 5 and it was like 5 likes immediately, so let's see if we can go for 15. I feel like that's a good number, and I'm already working on the next video. I plan on making a whole bunch of positive videos for Compton because, yeah, we don't get too many of those. So I want to be the first. Thank you.